Hello everyone. I have more problems with the Toro. Thought I had everything fixed. Turns over, it starts and everything. I still have to give it a jump, but it is pretty cold out, so it's kind of to be expected. Today I had it out and I was cleaning out the garage some. See, I got a little more room in here. I had it, drove it outside, had it out there for half an hour or something as I was cleaning everything out. Drove it back in. As I was coming in here, I noticed smoke started pouring out of the throttle area. And if you've seen the other video when I started working on this, I thought maybe the smoke that I saw that day was just a real light one. I thought maybe it was exhaust fumes coming, from underneath, fuel vapors because it wasn't starting. But this for sure was burning wires smoke. Shut it off right away, disconnected the battery. Kind of got distracted with put everything else away. I did take a quick look. Yeah, you can see right there. Alright, so you can see in there, there's definitely a burned up wire. Goes up there to the ignition switch. I can't see the other end of it down in there. Yeah, I can see a little bit down there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull the tank off this, cut open the harness, take the hood off. The hood just comes right off. These, it's really nice. All you got to do is, hold on, let me get you back in focus. There you go. Unplug the headlights right there, and then the hood, you open it halfway, lift up on it, comes right off. So we get all that torn apart, replace that wire, find out, see if I can find why it shorted, and go from there. I'll let you know what I find. Okay, so I have the hood off, the gas tank out. Dim this for you guys. You can see there, it is definitely melting the wires. It looks like about 2 wires actually. I traced them down, and I was following up. You got your wire loom that comes up here. And I did notice, this is the plug-in for the headlights. You can see there, that wire is melted. I don't see, because this was stuck down in here, I don't see any melt marks on there. It does have its own ground. The ground wire does not seem to be melted. So what I'm gonna do, check the wires here. These seem to be fine. I don't see, you can see those wires there. All look to be in good shape. And the headlights work. So why did that wire ground out and burn? You can see here, those 2 wires that are twisted together, those originally went to a fuse, which I have some in my cart on eBay, because I didn't get that. That was like that when I bought the machine. In my cart on eBay, Haven't pulled the trigger and ordered them yet. I think I should really need to get those on the way. That would have saved me this problem. It would have just popped the fuse. Then I could have checked for ground. Now I gotta go through and fix a lot of toasty wires. It won't be that bad. I'll get to know the electrical system on this thing, I guess. I need to check, because there are these two wires here. Both of those. Let's see if I can. Okay, turn the flash on the camera. Both of those wires go down. Pull some of this tape off, get some of these other wires out of the way. The white one's good yet. Okay, I'm gonna get this all pulled apart and I'll let you know what I find. Alright, so here's what I've figured out. I've got the harness all taken apart. This wire here is power from the battery. This one is fine. Normally, this right here went to a fuse and then continued back down the red and white wire. Now this wire, you can see, was getting hot. It goes in to a junction here where it splits. You can see the crimp connector there. This power for the computer, and then this is power up through the switch, down, and the light shut off there on me. Down through there, I can't really show you. It goes down and under, and it comes out here and goes to the headlights. Now what I don't get is, you can see this wire here got quite hot. The ground, I don't see any damage on it besides, you know, the wire melted to it. The connector's just fine. You can see it got a little warm on the one side there. But that plugs in here, like I was showing you earlier. This connector and the wiring don't have anything wrong with them. So I don't know why that would have melted the wires like that. But then again, how is it turning the computer off? Because if this is power from the battery through the fuse to this wire, you can see here, runs through here into the split and sends power right into the computer. Unless the computer is ground switched through the ground circuit. Let me see here. I do have two grounds coming, that's the green wires, coming out of the switch. I guess that's these two here. No, those both go into the harness on this side, which continues. That harness there just runs from there to the back under the seat, under the battery. You can actually see it, which I haven't actually checked. I probably should see if there's any damage back here. You can see it up there. There's one of the grounds. That all looks fine. I'm wondering if this was wired wrong from the factory. I'm wondering if the computer is staying on this one here. Well, no, that wouldn't work. I wonder if the ignition is staying on though. Because, like I was saying, this is basically power from the battery running into this three-way split here. This red and white wire goes into that top part of the plug, which this plugs in to there, which is the blue wire. Yeah, goes sense power here. And actually, the blue and the orange are on the same, so that sends power back down the red wire. I don't know, I'm kind of confusing myself now. But, because the way this junction is melted, you have power coming in on this one. This wire isn't melted, so it's not grounding itself on this side. It's this one here, which this one is the one that runs through the switch and then to the headlights. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these out, try and connect new wire to them on the switch, cut out the bad wire, and see if I can figure out what I'm going to do here. Alright, this might be a couple days, but it's currently like, yeah, 9:16 at night. Me and Hank are the only ones home. He's sleeping. Chrissy's at work. So, just gotta try figuring that out. In theory, I should be able to take the power from the battery, snip the burnt wire here, connect hot right to that, and see if it runs. If it runs, that just means I eliminated the headlight circuit, which I can always, because those were always on. I can find a nice switch. Put it on there somewhere for the headlights. Alright, I'll figure this out. Okay, I'm back. It's a couple days later. If you hear any yelling in the background, kids are playing outside, playing Power Rangers. So, I think I've traced it down. Don't know what caused the short yet. I'm assuming that's what happened was a short. But I'm thinking there's something wrong with that headlight circuit. I don't know. Because everything's burned right up to that point. So what I'm going to do is I've actually traced through. I had to ignore the wiring diagram for this tractor because it's not the proper diagram that Toro has on their site. So blue is the only color of wire I have. And that's actually speaker wire. It's 18 gauge, so it should hold. But just to get it running, and I'm going to keep the headlight system off of it. I might actually run that on a separate switch with its own power source and everything. That way I can keep an eye on it, and something happens, it doesn't melt my wiring. And I'm not going to try starting this again until I have a fuse. But for now, I went through this. Needs constant power because this wire here is for the voltage regulator. I actually just cut that from this mess here. It went like this. It split into 3 right here, and then went up to the switch. So I'm going to run from my main power wire in, which is this one here. It comes from the harness back there. I'm going to run from there, new length of wire to here. Then I'm going to split from here up to the back of the switch. I'm going to pull this pin out of the switch. I've already had it out once, but this wire is burned bare like this, right up to the back of this. So I'm going to cut it off short and solder the new wire onto it because I can't recrimp it because these are basically like one-time crimps. And then do the same on this side. I'm going to cut it off, resolder a new piece on, trace this down to this split here, rewire all of this mess here. And I should be good. Because the wire that ran... Oh no, I'm confusing myself. But yeah, this wire here is the one from the headlight. This ran up to a place on this harness here. I'm going to cut off all the bad stuff and just recrimp it. I'm going to order some of those new solder seal connectors. I hear those are really good. Harvey Spooner actually just did a video on them. He really likes them. He's a ATV and this kind of stuff. I'd say expert. In my eyes he is. He might not say it, but he's one of the guys that I look to solve issues. So yeah, him and Musty One. Those are both really good channels. Quite a bit larger than mine, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get it all wired. I'm not going to worry about filming it just so I don't get myself confused like I already have on the headlight circuit, but I'll let you know when I get it all done. Alright, see you in a little bit. Okay, quick update. Wiring, I believe, is done. I've tested it with that. None of the hot wires have a path to ground as of now. I got to plug everything back in. You can see I got plug there, plug there, plug there, plug there, plug there. That's my starter wire. The cover's got to go back on. I'm going to wait until after I get it together, just in case. Like I said, I'm not going to hook the headlights back up right now, because that's what I believe shorted it out. I don't have a fuse, so what I'm going to try doing, and yes, I know all of these connections are just electrical taped, but I have them just for testing. It's not how it's going to be finalized. I might actually even switch this back to the proper wiring, color-wise. Just because I plan on selling this machine, I don't want it coming back and people saying it's got an issue, at least with this. want to do it properly. The rest of the wiring, you can see some spots here where it got hot. Other wires melted to it, but I've gone over it really good, and none of this is burned through. It just looks terrible, and of course all these green wires are ground anyways, so if they were to touch, you know, say on the engine case or this here that's metal, most of that's plastic down here, it won't be an issue. It'll just ground to that and it won't cause any problems because it already has a load from before that. So they're not hot wires, they're ground wires. None of the other wires that carry a load, I think that one's the worst one there, and you can see that there is no wire showing at all. That's just getting shiny from my fingernail. That's not through. The only other one that's actually kind of bad is the ground for the headlight circuit, but like I said, that's a ground, and actually I don't think that went through at all either. So, time to put it all back together and see what happens. Alright, so I'll plug back in and stuff. I'm gonna take some zip ties and zip tie the wires up, but I've had it, the key on, battery's hooked up for a while now, just watching everything sitting here. I do have these two wires with just one strand. This is where the fuse normally would be. Just one strand across them to simulate a fuse. If anything's gonna get hot, it's gonna be that wire first. It's got the most resistance. Like I said, the only thing that's not hooked up is the headlight circuit. Everything else seems fine. That battery seems weak. It turned over a couple times, and then now it's pretty dead. It's reading 10.9 volts. But I think the issue's resolved. We'll know more when I get the fuse put in, this back on place. Because it could be an issue with the voltage regulator yet. I'm trying to set this down somewhere it won't ground out. There we go. The voltage regulator could be, well, no, because I was actually watching the voltage gauge when I was bringing it in. When it caught, it didn't go over, well, it was about 13.1 if I remember right. It should be about 14 if it's charging the battery properly. So yeah, that's that. I did just sitting here while I was saying that. This I'm gonna fix. I'm gonna unplug that and run it above this wire so it's not pulling down, because that could ground out. All that'll do is kill it. It's powered to the coil. But yeah. A lot of wiring for not a lot of things that need to be ran. It says I have a fuel shut-off solenoid and then all the computer for all the kills and all that stuff, but we'll see. Gotta get some fuses, fusible links, put them in. I'll know more then. But that probably will be a different video. I'll probably do that off camera. 'Cause I need to get this up. It's probably going to be almost a week before those come in. I want to get this published so I don't get lazy and not do it. I do see there's a little bit of an oil leak in that push rod tube there on the head gasket, but that's not bad. I'm going to stay here for probably another 15 minutes with that ignition on, make sure nothing starts smoking before I feel better about it. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out some other videos, and I'll see you later.